and as the brands and your listeners execute on some of the things that we're talking about, I know you're big on the metrics. The metric I like the most is sales growth. The second one is margin growth. It doesn't have to be percentage necessarily, is margin dollars, right? Those will rise and grow as you build brand. Your click-through rate and your conversion rate will grow. Your organic sales compared to your ad sales will grow. Your ad spend will go down as a percentage of revenue. People will
Right.
start talking about your brand, and people will start sharing with their friends about your brand, and your brand search volume will go up. Not just on Amazon, it'll also go up on Google. And that's when you know you've got something. That's when you know you're starting to hit the right chord for the shopper that's out there. And that's when you know you've got something of real value that you can grow and ultimately at some point sell for life-changing money.
Exactly. Life-changing money is exactly it. And that's the goal. Well, great conversation. And we can go on, you know how it is,
Nick,
forever.
us
This is
old guys, we could talk for hours, but I gotta go. I gotta go
listen,
talk to clients.
don't get us started with all the stories from the past. There is I mentioned a few times, my listeners, most of them know that I do scuba diving. So you get a few divers, talking about the so Amazon is no different.
It's no
There's no
different. It's
no
no
different.
different.
There's all kinds of stories. So let's spend the next few minutes to get to know you a little bit. So tell us who Jason Boyce is. Tell us, where did you grow up? And obviously you're an entrepreneur. What I want to always unpack about my guests is their early life experiences. When
Hmm.
did you know that you were, I mean, at the time you wouldn't have known, but looking back, when was the first time that you did something as a kid or whatever that said, oh, that was the entrepreneur at the
Ah,
beginning?
That's an easy one, Nick. I lived in the Pacific Northwest for about 6 years of my childhood in a small town called Tillamook, Oregon. And Tillamook is where the Tillamook cheese, if you know that, or the Tillamook pepperoni and jerky smokehouse products come from. And it's a big dairy community. It's also in a rainforest, essentially. It's in the coastal mountain range. And my backyard was basically a giant mountain range, and it was amazing. And so when I would play, I would go and run through the woods. One day, a neighbor friend of ours, I learned he'd figured out how to go and pull moss off of trees, put it in gunny sacks and sell it. And he was getting $35 to $60 per gunny sack of moss pulled from trees. So that was my very first entrepreneurial venture. So I would come back after school or after sports, and then on the weekends, and I'd go run through the mountains, and I would take my gunny sacks and I'd fill two of them. I got strong enough where I could fill them up two and carry them back down the mountain. I'd dry them out, and then I'd have my mom or dad take me down to the vendor who was buying this stuff and then reselling it to the nurseries in California. And I made thousands and thousands of dollars doing this. And that was
How
like,
old were you then?
I think fourth grade, maybe fourth grade was when I first started. Fourth or fifth grade is when I started doing that. And so that was my
So,
first entrepreneurial venture.
so why did you do it though? What was the attraction?
The money, the cash, you
Money.
know,
And
yeah,
why did you want?
I was able to go buy my Air Jordans, and I was able to buy all the cool stuff that I wanted, because, my parents were working class and we didn't always have money. And so I like to be able to work and make extra money. It took a burden off my parents. And I realized that with enough creativity, you can make money without a day job.
So how did your parents take that tendency to want money and then go make money and
Oh, they
things like that?
encouraged it. They absolutely encouraged it. They were great about it. They did a good job of telling me money isn't the only thing, and there's more to being a productive, useful human being than just making money. But they also said, making money makes life a little easier.
So, I ask this question to all my guests, and I have to say, most of them, if not all, say, "Oh, they my parents encourage." I did not have that luxury. My parents were doctors,
Ah,
and the first time ever I mentioned making money, they said, "Do not even think about it, because until you graduate from college, two things were not allowed. One is make money.
oh, interesting.
Two is play cards."
Ah.
Because they were afraid that if I made money, I would find easy life and stop my studies
Ah, I understand. Yeah.
and quit education. And if I played cards, I would end up hanging out with not so good kids and
Yeah.
learn all the stuff. In fact, I wasn't even allowed to read comic books, because it was my mother thought it was full of curse words. And as a kid, and of course, now fast forward to these days, these were the wrong things to do.
Yeah.
And look what happened to me. I ended up becoming an entrepreneur. So it doesn't stop, but it
Yeah.
denies a lot of the experiences and then a lot of the development, of course. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm envious. So that's great. So as a fourth grader, you were already making thousands of dollars, and it must have made your parents proud.
It did. It did. I mean, I didn't manage my money very well back then, but it was good to have it.
Yeah, I mean,
There was
nobody
always there was
does.
plenty of moss in the forest for me to make more money back in those days.